terrible company, shouldn't be in business, yet they're still making a lot of money because of first mover advantage. But they should be out of business because they suck. Hello, Kingmakers. Robert here, back with another video. It is 8:14 in the morning, Monday. Got my coffee with me, and I thought we would discuss what's been happening with Drive to Survive on Netflix, which, if you're unfamiliar, is the Formula One content marketing, which is, I think, a way that people don't look at it, but that is what it is. And we're going to talk briefly about why it's been so successful and why it made so much sense to do at that time and why it's now being rolled out into other sports and how this relates to Web3 marketing. The reason this has been successful is because this is effectively content marketing. So what happens is when you have a marketplace, there's going to be different levels of sophistication in that marketplace. And depending on what level of sophistication the market is at, the marketing strategy that makes the most sense is going to differ, right? Depending on what's going on. So if we take Bitcoin, for example, when Bitcoin came out, it was the first of its kind. So the question is, how do you market Bitcoin? I love this angle of like angry Karen wants to talk to the CEO of Bitcoin. So if you're the CEO of Bitcoin and you're thinking, how do I market Bitcoin? Well, if you're first in a market, the way that you should market that product is just say, here we are. Here's the problem that we solve, right? That's all you have to do because you have no competitors. Also known as first mover advantage. You come in, you don't really have to say a whole lot. Just here's what we do. And there's a lot of companies that can ride that way for a long time. PayPal, for example, terrible company, shouldn't be in business, yet they're still making a lot of money because of first mover advantage, but they should be out of business because they suck. Anyway, that's the first level of sophistication, right? Then what happens is you have the second company, the second product or the second project that comes into the industry. So then the question is, as a marketer, or again, if you're the CEO, how do you approach marketing if you're number two? Well, what you do is you look at what were the claims that were made by the first mover advantage company. What were the claims that they were making that were resonating with the audience, right? So if it's Bitcoin, maybe it's just peer-to-peer transactions, or maybe it's privacy, or what have you, right? So you got to find what is the thing that they claimed as a benefit that people really seem to resonate with, and how can we offer a larger, more of the same, right? So if you're Tesla and you come out with a first electric car, whoever's going to be the next one, which of course there are other cars now, but in an ideal world, the way that they would be able to market those successfully would be to say, hey, Tesla does 300 miles per charge, ours do 500. Just theoretical, right? Because it's going to be very difficult to actually pull that off. But I think you understand the thing. So level one, just come out and say what you do. Level two, now you got to take the claim that was successful and amplify it, right? That's how you get customers. Then you get into level three, the third level of sophistication, which I think, obviously within Web3, there are many different sub markets, and they are not all going to be on the same page. So I call it the L1 wars. And I would say that the L1 wars, the layer one blockchains, they're all competing now. And I would say that they're probably in the third level of sophistication, where the way to succeed in the third level of sophistication is to introduce a new mechanism, right? So you could say Bitcoin comes out, blah, 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 8 transactions per second. Ethereum comes out, and I don't know what the number is, but let's say it's 30 transactions per second, right? We talked about amplifying the claim. So then you could say Polkadot comes out and they say, hey, we have a slightly different approach here. We have this technology where, we have our layer one or layer zero, and then you build your layer one on that, and we kind of share the security on the layer zero Polkadot level. That's how we do it, right? And then you join as a parachain and blah, blah, blah. So we're introducing a new mechanism. And then you have to, of course, have benefits for why that makes more sense. But that is how you approach it if you're in the third level of sophistication. Then you have the fourth level, which you're kind of repeating what you did in step two, where you said, hey, okay, these guys did a new mechanism. Let's find the one that worked. Maybe 5 different companies are doing 5 different types of mechanisms. Find the one that's resonating with the most. And again, can you amp up the claim? Can you say, these guys did that? We're also doing that, but we're doing it better. We're doing it more. We're doing it faster, and so on and so forth. And then the really interesting part is level 5 and the final stage of the, let's say, competitive nature of a marketplace. How do you stand out in a marketplace that is already so competitive, and you have to come up with some sort of marketing strategy that's going to allow you to get customers and keep them? Well, what you do is you kind of resort to storytelling. You start to identify with the individual. As you may have noticed, in level 1, 2, 3, and 4, we only talked about basically talking about your product. And then in level 5, you could really say that switches. So now we're talking about, let's try to find some common ground with the customer and what we do, right? So let's build a brand. And that is what you see in the Drive to Survive Formula One Netflix series, right? So to pull up some numbers for you, one of the things about Formula One honest, it's not that it was unsuccessful before, but if you look at what happened with the US market specifically, where it wasn't as big as it is internationally, if you look at the US Grand Prix in 2018, there were 264,000 people in the US one, right? And then so 3 years later, a couple of seasons in, 400,000. So they've almost doubled the attendance based off of this show. And revenue numbers say 1.15 billion in 2020 versus 2.14 billion in 2021. So that's an 86% increase in 1 year. So that is pretty significant, right? And so again, the reason why it worked is because they sort of created content marketing, storytelling. They are following around the team principals, and they're also following around the drivers. And there's a lot of drama, and there are different characters. Some of them are more sort of competitive. They'll do anything to win. Some of them are assholes. Some of them are not. Some of them are more family guys. And so what you're having is the audience is kind of finding these different people that they're resonating with. And this is one thing that I think is actually a big reason why the UFC is so successful, is just because of the inherent nature of how the sport works, which is that you might just find one guy that you like, just one fighter, whether it's Khabib or Conor or John Jones or what have you. And then he fights a guy, and maybe you don't really care much for that guy that he fought. So you don't pay much attention to it. But then John Jones has another fight, and maybe he fights a guy that you really like, Glover Teixeira. Maybe you're like, oh, I like something about this guy. So now you start following him. So now you're following two people. And then both of them are fighting other people. And you keep being sort of exposed to other people that you resonate with. And so it has this effect of like getting you deeper and deeper and deeper into the sport because of the people. And so to pull this back a little bit, and by the way, first, let me just say, I just give you the numbers, right? Huge hit. So what's happening? Full Swing, the exact same story or format, but golf. Breakpoint, exact same thing, tennis. I guess they're starting with the rich people sports, right? But you can see this now. It's being rolled out into every sport imaginable because they were in a competitive marketplace. They didn't know what to do to succeed at this point. So what do? Follow the Drive to Survive formula. It worked. And so to kind of pull this back, right? So again, in Web3, you're going to be in DeFi, you're going to be a layer one, maybe you're a GameFi project, maybe you're a sort of infra project. You're going to have to take a look at which level are we in right now? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And by the way, if you start with number 5, the storytelling, you could just start there if you wanted to. It's just going to take you a little bit longer, and it's not actually required to get results at this time. So if you want to do the minimum amount of work to see results, you just follow what I laid out, right? Level 1, do that. Level 2, amp up the claims. Level 3, new mechanism. Level 4, amp up the mechanism. Level 5, storytelling, start to identify with the actual person who's the audience or the customer. And again, you can just start with storytelling, but you're not going to see results right away. But this is something we have not really seen done well in crypto yet. And I think we're going to start to see it more. Projects are going to start to do like in-office vlogs and things of that nature, which I think would be really cool. But I just wanted to put this out there because obviously Drive to Survive, massively successful. It's now being replicated into other sports. And I wanted to kind of explain this to you because I think it does provide a little bit of a framework of like, if you're trying to figure out how to market the thing that you do, your project, maybe take a look at the landscape first. What level are we in and what do we need to do to actually stand out and see some success? So that's it. I hope you have a good day. I don't think I have anything to pitch you or anything of that nature. Just hope you enjoy the video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Talk to you soon.